Welcome, Shadow Seekers, to American Shadows, Crimes and Chronicles. Today, we're unearthing a tale that'll haunt your thoughts long after it ends. Whether you're glued to the screen or just listening in, you're in for a wild ride through history's darkest corners. If you're new, hit subscribe to join our mission of exposing America's hidden truths. Regulars, your likes fuel our journey into the unknown. Now, let's peel back the layers of time and reveal the secrets beneath. Ready? Let's begin. The Dead Man's Hand, Wild Bill Hickok's fateful last game. Hello friends, you're watching American Shadows, and today we're continuing our journey through the pivotal events that shaped the United States on this day in history. Our focus turns to August 2nd, 1876, a day that would forever change the landscape of the American Wild West. Picture this. A legendary gunslinger, known for his lightning-fast draw and deadly accuracy, meets his end not in a blazing shootout, but with his back turned and a handful of cards. What could drive a man to murder one of the most feared lawmen of the Old West? How did a simple card game lead to the demise of a living legend? And why do the cards he held in his final moments continue to haunt poker players to this day? Before we dive into this gripping tale of fame, vengeance, and the twilight of the frontier era, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to all of you who support our work. Your likes, comments, and shares are the lifeblood of this channel, helping us bring these shadowy corners of history to light. Your enthusiasm fuels our passion for storytelling, so thank you truly for being part of this journey. Now, let's deal ourselves into the final hand of Wild Bill Hickok. Our story begins in the dusty gold rush town of Deadwood, Dakota Territory. It's the summer of 1876, and James Butler, Wild Bill Hickok, has just arrived, his reputation preceding him like a gunshot echo in a canyon. But the man who rides into town is a far cry from the legendary figure of dime novels and campfire tales. At 39, Wild Bill's eyesight is failing, his once steady hands now trembling from rheumatism. The man who once shot a hole through a silver dollar at 50 paces now struggles to see the cards in his hand. Yet, the siren song of the poker table still calls to him, as does the need for money that has plagued him in recent years. But who was Wild Bill Hickok, really? Born in 1837 in Illinois, Hickok's life read like a pulp fiction novel come to life. He'd been a stagecoach driver, Civil War spy, scout for the 7th Cavalry, and marshal of some of the toughest towns in Kansas. His deadly accuracy with a pistol was matched only by his flair for the dramatic, exemplified by his brief stint with Buffalo Bill Cody's Wild West show. Hickok's exploits were the stuff of legend. There was the time he killed 3 men with 4 shots in the McCannell's Massacre, a murky incident that some call self-defense and others cold-blooded murder, or the infamous shootout in Abilene, where he gunned down Phil Coe but accidentally shot and killed his own deputy in the chaos. These tales, embellished by dime novelists and Hickok's own storytelling, had turned him into a living myth. But myths, as we know, aren't bulletproof. On August 2nd, 1876, Hickok entered Nuttal and Mann's Saloon number 10 for what would be his final game of poker. Usually he sat with his back to the wall, a habit born from years of watching for threats. But on this fateful day, whether by chance or cruel twist of fate, the only seat available put his back to the door. As the afternoon wore on, a drifter named Jack McCall entered the saloon. McCall was a small-time criminal with a big grudge. The night before, he had lost heavily to Hickok at poker. Wild Bill, in an uncharacteristic show of mercy, had given McCall money for breakfast and advised him not to play again until he could cover his losses. This act of kindness, perceived as humiliation, had festered in McCall's alcohol-soaked mind. At around 3 p.m., as Hickok was engrossed in his game, McCall silently approached from behind. In his hand was a .45 caliber revolver. Without warning, he raised the gun and shouted, "Damn you! Take that!" The sound of the gunshot froze the saloon in a tableau of shock. Wild Bill Hickok, the man who had faced down countless dangers, never saw his killer coming. The bullet entered the back of his head and exited through his right cheek, killing him instantly. As Hickok slumped forward, his cards spilled onto the table, 2 pair, aces and 8s. This hand would forever be known as the Dead Man's Hand, a chilling reminder of the legend's last game. In the chaos that followed, McCall tried to flee, but was quickly apprehended. In a twist that could only happen in the lawless frontier, McCall was tried in Deadwood and acquitted, claiming he was avenging his brother's death at Hickok's hands. A story later proven to be a lie, but justice, like Wild Bill himself, had a way of catching up to its quarry. McCall's freedom was short-lived. Unable to resist bragging about killing the great Wild Bill Hickok, word of his boasts reached the ears of U.S. Marshals. In a second trial held in Yankton, Dakota Territory, McCall was found guilty and hanged on March 1, 1877. His final words were, "Draw it tight, Marshal." The death of Wild Bill Hickok marked the end of an era. He was one of the last great figures of the Old West, a bridge between the untamed frontier and the encroaching civilization. His life had been a mixture of fact and fiction, bravery and bravado, and his death only added to the legend. In the years that followed, Hickok's grave in Deadwood's Mount Moriah Cemetery became a pilgrimage site for those seeking to connect with the spirit of the Old West. His friend, Calamity Jane, would be buried next to him in 1903, fulfilling her final wish to spend eternity by his side. As we reflect on the life and death of Wild Bill Hickok, we're reminded that the American West was more than just cowboys and Indians, gold rushes and gunfights. It was a complex tapestry of human ambition, desperation, and fate. Wild Bill's death, inglorious as it was, serves as a poignant footnote to the closing chapter of the frontier era. This is American Shadows, where we peer into the darker corners of our nation's past. Until next time, remember that sometimes the most legendary tales are born from the most ordinary moments, and that in the game of life, we never know when we'll be dealt our final hand. Stay curious, stay safe, and keep exploring the shadows of history with us.